This video was sponsored by BlueStacks, a free Android emulator that you can use to play anime mobile games such as Azur Lane on your computer instead. I personally use it to record these YouTube videos, to save my phone from overheating when I'm grinding for hours on end, and so that I can achieve better quality gameplay. If you're interested, you can download BlueStacks through my referral link that you can find in either the description or the pinned comment below, and this will also be able to support the channel as well. See you guys in the video. Hey guys, I'm Azur or FBI Open Up, and welcome to the brand new Azur Lane event, Skybound Oratorio. In this video, I'll talk about everything that this new event brings, as well as give some reviews to the newly added ships. With that being said, let's get started. Now the first part, and obviously the most important part of Skybound Oratorio, as you can see by the outfit that I rented, are the god tier skins. We've got 4 brand new Live 2D skins, and they are all amazing. Richelieu's Live 2D right here has got to honestly be my most favorite one that Azur Lane has ever created so far. It's so good I might even buy the lucky bag just to go and wail for it. Of course, the ones for Lemalin, Jeanne Bart, Emile Bertin, and the other ones that aren't even Live 2D are also super good. The devs spoiled us for choice this time because all the skins in this event are fantastic. They even threw in this extra Nimi skin right here along with all the other friendships, even though all we want is one Oat skin for her. Come on. Moving on to the shop, I did mention the lucky bag. Now this is honestly the best one that they've ever released so far, because with 4 Live 2D skins, the chance for this random ship skin to be a Live 2D are higher than ever. You've got an 11.5% chance per, so that's a very solid 46% or basically 50% to get a Live 2D in this random skin box right here. So this is the highest thing that it's ever been, and of course if you do have bad luck, don't expect to pull one, but statistically, this is the best lucky bag Azur Lane has ever offered. Over in the normal shop right here, in the, not the supply, but the general one, you've got these gear skin boxes for the Iris. You can go and get these. They do cost a good amount of gold and are purely cosmetic, but they can decorate your ship guns and planes. So you can buy them if you have some extra gold lying around, but of course if you're like me who has only 7,000, you should definitely save up for other stuff like limit breaking your brand new ships. For the new Skybound Oratorio exchange shop, I would recommend you would prioritize to buy Jeanne d'Arc, unless you of course already pulled her, then it's not that big of a priority anymore, or if you're planning to farm for her on B3 or D3. Along with that, another high priority item is this twin 203mm heavy cruiser HE gun. Now this brand new heavy cruiser HE gun is now the best HE gun that you can put on a heavy cruiser, beating out the previous champion, the prototype one. So as you can see here on my St. Louis, this gives an extra 52x4 instead of a 52x3, meaning it has a 1/4 extra damage output. So this is actually going to be much more beneficial, even though the slight reload time is going to be a little bit longer. So this is going to have a much higher damage output than the prototype triple 203mm, and now the twin 203mm is the best HE gun for heavy cruisers. So that's very good, but do keep in mind that only Atago and the PR St. Louis are the ones that use high explosive guns instead of AP for heavy cruisers, so you don't need too many copies of this gun. I'll talk about where to farm and my farming strategies for this event in a second, and that will cover that gun. Along with these recommendations, I will also recommend buying the standard stuff that you should always try to buy in every event. You should always try and buy these general blueprints right here, as well as definitely the rare rainbow ones. You should also try and buy these general parts since you are always going to be running low on them, and gold is wonderful as well. A couple of optional things that are nice to have but not a big priority are going to be the golden cap boxes right here, and of course oil, only if you're finding yourself low on it after grinding too hard. And of course, if you like the weapon skins, go ahead and buy yourself a few of these cosmetic Iris skin boxes too. Onto how I will be farming Skybound Oratorio. I'm first going to try and beat D3 as fast as possible to go and access the SP stage that is currently locked for that nice event currency. After that, I will be farming a little bit of D3 for Jeanne d'Arc maybe, or for an extra copy of the new HE heavy cruiser gun. But after I get 1 or 2 of these, I'm going to go right back to D1 because this is going to be the stage I'm going to be farming the most. That's because, once again, it drops the Gold Baguette DD gun. If you didn't know already, this is the best in the entire game for a DD gun, and it can be used for a wide variety of ships in either their main gun or aux gun slot. Since so many ships can go and have access and use this gun effectively, it is much better to farm for even more copies of this gun. Now, you may be wondering, why am I not farming for a ton of copies for this? Well, as I said earlier, since the new HE heavy cruiser gun is really only good on PR St. Louis and Atago, or maybe the new ship Algerie, you won't be needing too many copies of it, so farming D3 will mainly be for those people that want to get extra copies for Jeanne d'Arc. Now, once you get 1 or 2 of them, I would recommend going back to D1 and farming the rest of your life on this DD Baguette gun, since they are used for a lot more places. This is why I would highly recommend farming D1 in this event. Now, we're going to move on to the new ship reviews. Hopefully I can go and pronounce all these new French names a little bit better now with that video that I did, but I do apologize in advance if I do end up butchering them once again. Now, I did not get Jeanne d'Arc or Algerie yet, so I'm just going to have them posted up in a picture while I review them. Now, first of all, we've got Jeanne d'Arc. She is found either in the event shop as a rare build or from farming the event stages B3 or D3. She's a very interesting light cruiser that has some very peculiar abilities. Her first skill, La Pucelle, gives her a 10% damage against any Royal Navy ship that she faces, which is very nice, but the second part of the skill is what makes it so interesting. When entering any battle, Jeanne d'Arc decides to set herself on fire for 30 seconds. Of course, this sounds really bad because normally you don't want a skill that ends up hurting your own ship, but Jeanne d'Arc is actually better and actually very good when she's burning. Believe it or not, you'd actually want her to burn in order to maximize her effectiveness. She gets a massive 20% increase to her firepower, torpedo, anti-air, and evasion stats, which is a significant offensive buff. Now her second skill, Holy Prayer, is a very defensive skill and very nice skill. 10 seconds into battle and every 20 seconds after, you can think of this skill as a small illustrious shield with extra benefits. The best part of this skill is no matter what happens to your shield, your vanguard will benefit. If it breaks, then that ship will just evade everything for 2 whole seconds, which along with the shield itself, provides a fantastic survival boost to any of the vanguards. Now if the shield does end up expiring and not breaking, the ship will heal for 70 HP, which isn't a lot, but of course that's better than nothing. Together with these skills, Jeanne d'Arc is definitely a solid light cruiser, but the one downside is her much lower health than usual, along with her of course being on fire all the time, making her a little bit fragile. Now I'd definitely recommend still building her, as she is fantastic with Richelieu's buffs, but do keep in mind that she might have a bit of a problem if she does not have any good survival gear on the later stages. She's not a top tier light cruiser due to her unsurvivability, if that's even a word, fragility, but she is definitely a very usable ship, and she will definitely be able to perform great as long as she can survive. Moving on in the list, we have Algerie, who some people call the French Belfast because they do look pretty similar. Anyway, Algerie is a heavy cruiser that you can get through building her in the event pool. She has very good stats for a heavy cruiser, beating out even some of the top tier heavy cruisers such as Baltimore in everything except for anti-air. Her skills are also great as well. Her first skill provides a great DPS boost, giving her 15% extra damage to ships that are burning, as well as giving her a very reliable way to inflict that burn debuff. Now she has a guaranteed burn barrage that has a 70% chance to proc when firing main guns every 10 seconds, as well as having a guaranteed proc after 20 seconds in battle. Now this skill is really reliable in causing the burn effect, but if you really want to maximize the chance, you could equip Algerie with the new HE heavy cruiser gun as well. Now Algerie also has a very nice defensive skill, Divine Aegis. Now she gains a shield 20 seconds into battle and every 30 seconds after, that provides her with a very nice variety of bonuses. First of all, the shield blocks up to 5 torpedoes, which is very nice, and while the shield is active, Algerie herself gains a 15% boost to her own firepower, as well as dealing 12% more damage to destroyers and battleships. This skill actually gets even better when you play on auto, since Algerie gets a considerable 15% evasion boost, as well as a massive 8 speed while playing on auto. This is a very big survival increase for her, but even if you use her on manual without these speed and evasion buffs, she will still be very good. Overall, Algerie is a fantastic heavy cruiser that is definitely powerful. I would recommend you level her up as well. Now for the equivalent of Nagato for IJN, Queen Elizabeth for the British, Bismarck for Ironblood. She is the shining star of the event. It's none other than Richelieu herself. In short, she is broken, and only buildable in the event gacha. You need to get her because she is insanely good. For starters, let's take a look at her skills to go and understand why she is so good. Her first skill, the Iris's Flag Bearer, when sorted as flagship, gives a massive offensive buff to both the French factions, the Iris Libre and Vichia Dominion. Now, this up by 15% of firepower, torpedo, accuracy, and reload for all of them makes them a significantly more deadlier threat, and that's not all. The Iris Libre ships will then get an additional 6% damage increase, and the Vichia Dominion ships will get a 6% damage decrease. This is insane. This makes any French ship much better, especially for the Iris Libre. For instance, Le Malin, who is usually regarded better than Le Triomphant, but with Richelieu, Le Triomphant actually becomes better since she is part of the Iris faction and gets that 6% damage increase, while Le Malin is in Vichia, so she gets the 6% damage decrease. Since damage increases are much more preferred than survivability, such as decreasing damage, Le Triomphant is now better with Richelieu than Le Malin. The craziness is not done there yet though, because Richelieu has 2 more skills. Her second skill, the Iris's Holy Flame, is her very own barrage that has a super high 75% chance to proc, and in addition to that, has a high chance to inflict her very own special burn that is completely nuts. This burn is insane. It lasts for 30 seconds, it deals damage over time, it reduces firepower, aviation, and torpedo of the burning enemies by 5%. This makes Richelieu not only a fantastic buffer with her first skill, but it also makes her deal fantastic damage and a great way to support the team through her burn debuffs. Now to top this thing off, Richelieu is still not done yet. She has yet another skill that gives her yet another damage boost when she equips an HE gun, and now her first volley is now guaranteed to crit if shot manually. And guess what? That's not even yet. We got, at her limit break, she gets a main gun preload +1 at limit break 1, meaning she can fire her barrage right away because she shoots her salvo at the start of battle just like Jean Bart. Along with all this, she has fantastic stats for a battleship. Words cannot describe how overpowered the ship is, so I'll just tell you guys one more time that you need to get Richelieu. Moving down to the elite ships, we're gonna tone it back a little with Vauquelin. Vauquelin is another average destroyer that you can find in the event pool. Her one skill, I'm not going to pronounce this, but it gives her a very nice boost to basically all of her stats, which is very nice. However, there are just so many good destroyers out there that it's going to be really hard to go and justify using her, because so many of these other destroyers just completely outclass her. If you wanted accessibility, you just go for a starter ship like Laffy Retrofit. If you wanted to get these French bonuses, you should just go with Le Malin or Le Triomphant. Vauquelin is kind of more like a use her if you like her kind of ship. Onto Bearn. She is a very interesting ship that may possibly be like the carrier equivalent of Gengut for farming. You can find her in the event shop or as a drop from D1 or D2. Her first skill that has a very edgy name, Sacrament Holy Bombardment, gives her the option to choose what you want to put in her third slot. Now, even though she is a carrier, she has the option to put a light cruiser gun in this slot, making her deal basically similar to Bismarck's skill, setting the gun's range to a nice 80, increasing the efficiency of it so that it actually does damage, and she also gets a nice special barrage. This is going to be really good for farming since she can actually deal with suicide boats now, So even though she is a carrier, she can now deal with that stuff, and she can be a really nice solo farmer. If you choose, however, to go and put a dive bomber in the slot instead, it shortens the loading time of the first airstrike by 50%. This pairs really well with her second skill, which actually gives a torpedo and plane barrage 5 seconds after an airstrike is ready to launch. This works really well with that 50% decrease, because when you equip a dive bomber in the third slot, 50% less time means that she's going to be able to fire her Sacrament Sacred Second Wing a lot faster, because it depends on when they load that airstrike in. Now overall, I would personally run Bearn with the CL gun if I was going to use her for solo backline farming, and with the dive bomber if she is being used with other people, because she can go and get this second skill out a lot faster. Finally, we have La Galissonniere. She is available as a point accumulation reward in the event, so just grab enough event points and you will be able to unlock her at 10,000. She's a very solid light cruiser. Her first skill decreases her own damage taken from light cruisers and destroyer guns, as well as giving herself and some extra self-evasion and speed boosts when the vanguard is only consisting of light and heavy cruisers. Her second skill is a nice offensive boost, giving her a nice 8% firepower and torpedo boost after 5 main gun attacks, as well as attacking the nearest enemy with a special barrage. Now I personally don't know if the barrage will trigger for every 5 main gun attacks, or how good this barrage actually is. Depending on these factors, she should definitely be a solid light cruiser if all that stuff works as planned. With those ship reviews finished, that will bring an end to my Skybound Oratorio guide. As always, if you found this information helpful, consider dropping a like and subscribing. Don't forget to press that notification bell for my future uploads as well. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions that need to be answered, and I'll try my best to reply. If you're interested, you can always join my Discord server if you need advice or just want a place to relax. That'll be all for this video, so I'll catch you guys later. See you guys, bye!